Chapter 56, Bad Construction. "What will you be doing now that you are back?" Dad asked Amy. She leaned forward. "Well, I was thinking I could help out at school in the fall, that is, if you'll hire me." Dad chuckled. "You know we are always on the lookout for good teachers. What are your plans for the summer, though?" Amy shrugged her shoulders. "I don't really know. I haven't given it much thought because I figured God would work something out once I got back." Mom nudged Dad. "You should tell her about the idea you had." Dad nodded as he looked over at Mom. "That's exactly what I had in mind." Amy's face wrinkled in curiosity. "What idea?" "Well, Brian has been working for me at my rental houses this summer. It needs to be cleaned out, drywalled, and painted. And new flooring needs to be installed," Dad explained. "We could use another person." A grin spread across Amy's face. "Now that sounds like fun. We could call ourselves Bad Construction." "Now wherever did you come up with that?" Dad laughed. Amy giggled. "Well, B is for Brian, A is for Amy, and D is for Dad." Mom was laughing too. "I think that name fits you all quite well." Bad Construction kept them busy the rest of the summer. "Come here, everyone, look what I found," Brian excitedly yelled as he pulled back the ceiling tiles in the bathroom. Amy dropped her paintbrush into the tray, and Dad laid his hammer down as they came rushing to see what Brian was yelling about. Brian hurried down the ladder. "Just take a look for yourselves." Dad climbed up and shined his flashlight into the darkness above the tiles. Amy stood on her tiptoes but could not see anything. "What is it?" she asked. Dad called out, "It's a gun. I don't think we should touch it." Brian leaned back against the wall and folded his arms. "What are we going to do? We have to get it out of there so we can finish the ceiling." Dad got down off the ladder and said, "I think we should call the police and let them handle it. I heard stories around the neighborhood about the people who used to live here. It could have easily been involved in some kind of crime." 2 officers soon arrived after Dad placed a call. One of them put gloves on and pulled the gun down. After turning it over and carefully examining every inch of it, he looked at his partner and said, "I think we should call our weapons specialist to take a look at it." The other officer took the gun and laughed after checking it out. "I'll admit, this looks like a real weapon. I hate to disappoint you, but it's only a pellet gun." Dad, Brian, and Amy joined him in laughter. "What a relief," Amy grinned. "I was afraid it was involved in some horrible murder." Mom's prediction came true. Ryan returned from IGO and his relationship with Amy grew deeper. They were married on March 15th, 2008. Mom looked over at Dad as they slowly drove home after the wedding. "Well, that was our baby," she said with a sigh. "It's going to be extremely quiet around the house." Dad held the steering wheel in one hand and reached over to comfort Mom in the other. "She will be living right across the street from us, so you can visit her whenever you want." "I know, but it's still not like having her at home with us." Dad squeezed Mom's hand. "If you are afraid of our house being empty and quiet, you should know by now that will never happen. There will be neighbors visiting, grandchildren staying overnight, and lonely strangers needing a bed and a meal. We have each other, too. We will be so busy serving God and being His hands and feet that we won't even have time to be lonely or to realize that we are growing older." A smile slowly stretched across Mom's face. "You are right. Our home in the city will never be empty because it will always be filled with love and laughter." As they neared home, the sun slowly sank behind them, and a million twinkling stars filled the night sky. The porch lights in the city shone a welcoming light that chased the shadows away from the dark streets. Mom and Dad knew that was exactly what God called them and every other follower of Christ to be, a light in the midst of a dark world.